Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 315.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos. Let us know how we are sounding this morning, Monday morning.
I forgot my straw.
I hope you are about to have the greatest week ever. How are you feeling this morning? How did your weekend go? Who did something like super fun? I did something super fun. I got to go back to Coconut Creek and have a birthday dinner early with our youngest son, Caleb. It was awesome. So glad to just be able to catch up with him. And he paid me a very nice compliment while we were there. His birthday is actually the 30th coming up. But we're going to be heading out to Elkhart.
Yep.
So we need
Saturday.
We need those days. But he said, "Mom, you are looking strong, girl." And I was like, "Well, thank you very much." But yeah, farm strong,
life.
Right?
Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch. If you're new here, Keto Beyond the Couch is all about our subscribers. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We do it live whenever possible. Next week, I don't know if it's going to be live because we'll be in Elkhart. We have to pick up our new RV, and so I doubt very much it'll be live. We'll probably pre-record it, which will be interesting because we'll be driving to Elkhart. So if you're new here, though, the way we do this when we're live is we basically go through everything, and then we don't really pay too much attention to the chat till the last 10 or 15 minutes of the stream. So if you have a question, hold off till then, or use the super chat function, which does help benefit the channel. I also wanted to say, sorry about the echo. I mean, we're doing the best we can. Or at least we're out of the RV. So we're in here, RV. But this is a hollow, empty room right now. So there is like a decent amount of echo in here, and hopefully we'll be able to get things done. We started working on our studio, so I've got most of the walls up. I need to go get some more of the wall boards, the panelings, but the last like 5 or 6 that they had at our Home Depot were all damaged, so I didn't get them. So I need like 3 more. I've got my entire battery system in. The entire thing is now running completely off of battery, no grid. I just need to put my solar panels on the roof, and I'm waiting for the brackets to be able to attach them to the roof.
So excited. You know, I pictured myself as the ABBA song Dancing Queen, but I believe that my true title is actually Insulation Queen.
Yeah, you like doing insulation?
I actually, who knew? It always leaves me itchy, like afterwards.
It's not nearly as bad as it used to be.
But
like years ago, when you messed with fiberglass insulation.
Oh, yeah. it was way worse.
It's not as bad as it used to be.
But I feel so proud when I see a completed project, and I know that I've like paved the way for you to be able to like do your job.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, and I'm glad that we're able to.
What is that tool you have?
Which one?
The one with that gives us a perfect outlet box.
I'll have to get a link for it. It'll be in the homesteading channel, which if you haven't subscribed, please go subscribe to our homestead channel.
Wow.
It's youtube.com/@the2kk farm. So it's like a little magnet piece. Do I have another piece over here? Here.
It is amazeballs. And I don't get dazzled by tools. I get dazzled by like work being done, and then I go, hey, thank you for going ahead and getting that tool. I guess that was a good purchase. But this one, I completely nerded out on the tool itself.
So basically, you have it's called the market. I don't know why we're talking about this on a keto channel.
I'm sorry, but I just thought it was cool.
You put this little device,
yeah,
which is basically a magnet, inside of your electrical box. Like, hand me one of those boxes over there, even though it's not the same thing. So I'm making one from my disconnect from my batteries, but basically this mounts like in this box like this. Then you sheetrock or put your wood paneling right over the front of it. You put it right over the front of it. And then there's a larger one that basically once you have your paneling up, so this is facing out, once your paneling is up, what'll happen is you move this piece back and forth
until it snaps perfect.
It'll snap. And it gives you the exact outline of the box, and then you just use the multi-tool and cut around the box. So you no longer have to like measure out how far, like where to put the box. You literally just put this device in the electrical box, and then you put the larger, it's the size of a box, and you put it in there and cut it out. But I don't know why we're talking about that on this channel.
Here's my thing. You know what it is? I think it's what dazzles me is it is simple and it is effective. And I love that. I love that in recipes. I love that in exercise. I love that in every place of my life. Like for you, what is the keto ingredient? What is the keto friendly ingredient that is like that multi-tool? It just gets in there and gets the job done.
Cheese.
For me, it is beef.
Yeah.
Beef gets the job done every single time.
Yeah.
It just does.
I'm just joking about the cheese. Anyway, we're gonna get into Keto Beyond the Couch. I do want to say it's probably a little bit shorter today because not as many comments. So please do us a favor. Did you really turn on the?
No, I think that is actually, we have a guest.
Okay,
It's like Mr. Rogers. Like who's at the door? Is it the mailman? Is it maybe the grocer? Like we don't know, but we do know that as soon as we go live, like someone will knock on the door. Absolutely. Maybe I can go to the first comment, and it's coming from Debbie Gigantis. Love you. My why. Functional fitness, loading everything from my house into a pod. Once I'm loaded and organized, okay, actually, the caption is not from Debbie. I believe the picture is from Debbie, and that is hard truth. If you wait until you feel better to start living, you might be waiting forever. Go live your life, do it sad, do it anxious, do it uncertain, because healing doesn't always come before the experience. Sometimes the experience is what heals you.
I like that talk.
I like that talk. Oh my gosh, you came back and you're wearing sunglasses.
Because I have transition lenses,
Yeah.
which I'll never do again because I don't really wear sunglasses anymore. So, yeah, that is like a perfect post from Debbie. I really
Absolutely.
enjoyed that
Sorry
post.
that we put the caption from last week on there, but at least her post was the correct post.
Okay. I'll have to edit that out.
She's not moving.
So that was an interesting conversation.
Okay, what just happened?
So remember when we bought the property?
Yes.
There was a shed in the back. And there was a big contention about that shed. And we were like, they're like, we're taking the shed.
Yeah.
They took the shed.
Right.
They never paid for the shed. So the guy that was knocking on our door is the repo man for the shed.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So did you say like they took the shed?
I
with them?
just said to him that they don't live here anymore. They sold the property about 10 months ago. And he was like, I'm looking for a shed. And I'm like, yeah, they took that with them.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But
so he's like, can I take pictures of the property to show that
sure that
it is
just not here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awful. People should pay for their stuff.
Yep.
And then why would you take it? Wouldn't you leave it for us to have to pay for it? I mean,
No,
that's a jerk way to do it, but like I'm
to me,
surprised we didn't get dumped with that.
That was God protecting us because
Amen.
now you're going to deal with
Repo.
a repo of a shed that you didn't even buy, and now you're dealing with technically like it could be like considered stolen property, and yeah, so.
Oh my gracious! And if it was here, we would have just turned it into a chicken coop.
It would
probably,
be a chicken coop. They
right?
probably wouldn't want it.
You'll have to take all of the chickens with it. Wow.
I don't know how that would work though, because if it was sold as part of the property, it's technically ours. I don't think that they could repo it because it's ours.
I don't know. I mean, they got to get paid.
They have to go back after the old owner.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, good morning. Happy Monday.
Serena said a shed repo. Interesting. So there's a lot of shed building places around here.
Tons.
So Florida actually has a law that you don't even need a permit for a shed up to a certain size. I think it's like 220 square feet. You don't even need a permit. However, sheds are supposed to be built to withstand Florida winds. So, they have to be able to withstand, I think it's 150 or it's 170. I think it's 150 is the minimum of the wind it has to withstand. So when you go inside of them, they're built a little bit differently That's why when you see all these ads and stuff that pop up in Facebook, a lot of those things can't be sold in Florida because of Florida's wind regulations when it comes to building. But there are a lot of shed places here because everybody's allowed to have a shed, and a lot of houses don't have garages. So we're like, where we got the place for the studio, she was like, "Oh, you can do payments," and I was like, "Oh, really?" And we don't believe in debt, but I asked her about it, and she basically, what was it? It was like ridiculous. It was
like 40% interest.
I feel like it was like 40 or 50% interest.
Yeah.
So you basically, it was like a rent to own kind of thing. But she said it works out to be like 50% interest.
My gracious.
But a lot of people do that, I guess, because they're expensive. I mean, like, you know, at minimum you're going to pay $5,000-$6,000. Some of them are $10,000, $12,000, $14,000.
Even with us finishing it,
you know, we got ours at 12% off because it was 12% off any 12 by like units. And when we got ours, it was, you know, completely unfinished. And they're like, if you want to add electric, the prices just like skyrocket. And they said a lot of people do add that. That's why I'm doing it on my own, because it more than doubled the cost to add all that stuff. But yeah, I guess a lot of people do finance them and they come and take them.
Great day. What about if you have all your crap in it though? Do they just dump all of your crap out of it and take it? Or do they just take it with all of your stuff in it?
Andy said our Amish community builds sheds. Oh, Chris said, so for that repo thing, that's what title insurance is for. It covers mess ups in real estate sales like that. The problem is the shed was not owned by the owner of the house.
No, it was
owned
his son.
by the son.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back into Keto Beyond the Couch.
Start having a little distraction there.
We're gonna see this one from Bonnie.
Hey, Bonnie.
Does anyone know of something to ingest that helps with dry skin that is affordable? I drink plenty of water and one salty daily, but I'm trying lotions and ointments aren't. I'm finding, I guess, I'm dying, and oceans and ointments aren't enough. Eat collagen. Make sure you're doing a bunch of collagen. So you can do supplements, but just fatty meats, collagen, like chew on the ends of bones, eat the bone marrow, bone broth.
I am living proof that helps. Because but that is, I'm not doing it because I want to have because our skin is like very dry. Me and mommy were having a conversation about that, but it does help tremendously with it. But it's not because I'm chasing better skin. It's just because I like eating the ends of all the bones, and I love bone marrow, and I love bone broth. Yeah. So it's kind of like finally something that is do this for better health, and it's like easy for me.
Yeah, so focus on fatty meats, the collagen, like even if you don't swallow it, like if you get like steak that has a bunch of gristle.
And you like chew on it.
Just chew on it for a little
while.
This. Adding in things like beef gelatin into your diet, that will really help. But yeah, the more you focus on meat within your lifestyle, that should help with your skin.
I will say that I have had good luck also with both using beef tallow and using coconut oil as like a lotion. That also helps. I've had good luck with that.
Trish had a question.
Hey, Trish.
What is a good average morning glucose reading? It depends on the person, and it really depends on where you are in your health journey. So there is something called the dawn phenomenon. And that is something that everybody experiences, and you want to. Don't try to get rid of your dawn phenomenon. Every mammal has a dawn phenomenon.
That's pretty cool.
So the dawn phenomenon is basically what happens is when you wake up, usually it really starts to go up about an hour or so after you get up. But when you get up in the morning, your body will create a bunch of glucose to get you going. It's part of the fight or flight thing, so it's like your body needs a bunch of energy. So whether you eat or not, your body's going to produce a little bit of glucose. It's even if you're eating zero carb, you will experience the dawn phenomenon because it happens through a process called gluconeogenesis. It's just like if you're being chased by a lion or a rooster that wants to attack people.
That's right.
Your body will produce a bunch of sugar to give you that energy to go.
And you want that so you can get away from them.
Everybody gets that in the morning. Okay, so that's why it's generally not best to test your glucose about an hour or so after you get up, because it's going to be elevated. But it really depends. You know, if you check in the middle of your dawn phenomenon, you're usually going to be about 15, 20 points higher than your normal one. But for me, it's more of watching your CGM, seeing where you're going, what do you sit at all the time? I usually sit right around 90. Rachel usually sits right around 80 throughout the day. So, you know, what was your history like before? But if you're between an 80 or even 70 and 100, I think you're good personally. But again, we're not doctors, nurses, or health professionals. Next one is from Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Is there still a meetup in Elkhart, Indiana on April 1st?
Yes, there is. So check out lowcarbevents.com. You'll find the Elkhart meetup. So stinking excited for it. I'm really getting super excited. I did find and start packing some warmer clothes because it's not Florida.
No.
So
although lately it's been in the 40s and 50s here.
It's weird because it's like 40s or 50s in the morning and then in the evening and then in the middle of the day like 95.
Yeah.
Like weird.
Yeah, so we will be in Elkhart next week. We're driving up there over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We're probably going to drive like 10 to 12 hours each day. Get up there Sunday night, pick up our new RV Monday, spend like 3 or 4 days there. So we'll pick it up Monday. Tuesday we have the meetup. And then, like, if there's any issues with it, the factory has to fix them, and then we will head back down.
Start heading home.
I'm kind of hoping to get home by Sunday. I don't, or even Saturday evening. I don't know if we will, but the auction place that we go to is going to be auctioning off all of the animals for the 4-H kids that didn't make weight.
That's cool.
To help them
recoup
some of their money.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that in 4-H, like, those kids have to pay for all of that stuff.
And we are hoping to, you know, kind of be a blessing within our community if at all possible.
Yeah, so like those cattle they raise, I found out it cost them like $4,000 to raise that cattle.
You know, every parent kind of complains a little bit about like the cost of extracurricular activities, their team building, their character building. They are awesome, but there is a cost to them. And I'd like to right now apologize for any of the moaning and groaning that I did because of band or baseball. Because if our kids had done like 4-H, like the 3 boys, Lord help us, right? Like I have a feeling that would have been quite the expensive venture.
Next one is from Jeannie.
Hey, Jenny.
I just realized that I have a non-scale victory. I fell and I injured myself on Wednesday evening.
Okay.
Not too serious, but I'm in pain. The next day I wasn't particularly hungry, so I didn't eat before work. And then I was busy until late, so I decided to just wait until the next day. This morning I woke up, I had some eggs and avocado, which, were delicious. So what was my non-scale victory? It never once occurred to me the whole time, even at the grocery store, to eat something off plan.
Yay.
Just a couple weeks ago, I would have been struggling not to scarf down some fast food or junk food. Now it never even occurred to me.
Oh, happy day. Jenny, you are so right, because it is amazing how much that anything, you know, if anything happens, we would look to food for some sort of emotional support, comfort, like basically a way to kiss our boo-boo. We even would use food to kiss our boo-boo, you know, like to make us feel better. And so I'm so sorry that you had this injury, and you do feel not great after an injury, but that is as much as you're taking time to notice that thing. Yeah. Which is pretty, awesome. Because you're like, yes, I got hurt and it hurts. What would I do if this circumstance was completely removed? I would eat the right thing. So why not just go eat the right thing?
Go eat the right thing.
Good job.
I saw this question from Carrie.
Hey, Carrie.
He said, I know these questions don't get answered till later. Just wondering, I ran out of a fat source. Can I still make keto chow? I know the vitamins won't work. So it's not that the vitamins won't work, is there are certain vitamins within keto chow that are fat soluble and they require fat. So your body won't absorb the fat soluble vitamins. Will it still work? Well, yeah, it's going to be food. it's not going to taste as good. If you want my personal opinion, keto chow with no fat source in it is disgusting.
I don't find it disgusting.
It's thin. It's not creamy. It's designed to have a fat source. Fat is flavor. Without fat in any food, it tastes like cardboard. Or if you buy it in a store, like they added a bunch of sugar to hide the fact that they didn't put any fat in it. So fat is all of your flavor.
You can blend in an egg.
But can you consume it? Yes. Yeah. That's what I would do. Is I would find a fat source, because if you want to be honest, like it's a meal replacement. So if you're not adding, if you're basically at that point, if you're not going to add any fat to a keto chow, you're talking about it being about 125 calories. That is not a meal. If you want to be honest, that's not even a snack. So 125 calories is not enough. So at that point, in my personal opinion, if you're just going to consume a keto chow as a meal for 125 calories, you're wasting $5.
Yeah, so I would,
because it needs to be a meal. And so you need to add the fat in. Otherwise, you're not getting really much out of it. You're getting some vitamins and some electrolytes, and then you're getting a little bit of protein, but it's not enough anyway. So find a fat source. Listen, butter is ridiculously cheap. You can use butter or get an egg and throw a couple of eggs in there, and at least make it like something. Add 2 eggs in there. It's still, to me, not enough of a meal, but you'd be up around 270 calories.
Yeah.
It's a little bit better than just having a keto chow.
Speaking of a keto chow, are you drinking a keto chow?
I am drinking chocolate, peanut butter, and it's got a packet of caramel vibes in it.
Because now you are all about blending the salty with the keto chow.
Yeah. I like the, it's like, you can almost taste the salt.
And you have gotten to the point in your keto journey where you're like, salt.
Yeah. Next one's from Laura.
Hey, Laura.
My mother, who just turned 79, is taking a daily probiotic and has been since last year. It was recommended to her after a series of medications when she was sick, including an antibiotic. At what point can she stop?
Should she stop?
Or should she stop? My thoughts are that there should be a point to stop and allow her body's natural ability to recover and kick in. Any suggestions, thoughts, and recommendations? When I first read this, I thought you were talking about the antibiotics. And my thing is listen, I avoid medication whenever possible, but sometimes you just need medications.
Yeah.
And so it's something like an antibiotic. I'll be like, you stop when you're completed the antibiotic cycle. As far as probiotics, it's not a medication, it's just more of a supplement. I don't see any harm with it. One of the things is that if you're consuming things, a lot of things are missing in our diets because of the farmland that we're farming on, and even the farmland that cattle is raised on. That's why it's so important to support regenerative local farmers, because if you go to the store and you buy a bunch of vegetables, it's all being farmed on minerally depleted land. That's why there's really no nutrients left in it. It's kind of worthless. Eating vegetables at this point is, like we say, for entertainment purposes. They're not going to give you a whole lot of nutrition. Well, when you look into the probiotics and prebiotics, you're looking at fermented foods and vegetables and things like that, but it's lacking in a lot of the food that we're buying. So supplementing with stuff isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't look at a probiotic or a prebiotic as a medication. Now, are there natural sources you can get them? Yeah, go to regenerative farms and get your vegetables. Consume fermented foods like yogurts and sauerkrauts and kimchi and stuff like that, and that could all help.
Yeah.
Next one is from Audrey.
Hey, Audrey.
Hey, Joe and Rachel. Saw your coffee line. What coffee maker are you using these days to brew your coffee? Are you grinding your own beans too? I'd love to ditch my expensive Nespresso and go back to fresh ground coffee. So, I mean, we use our Nespresso, and then when we're having our coffee, right now, because we're in the RV, Rachel's got this ridiculous
a tiny one
thing that basically makes 1 cup of coffee for Rachel, and then Joe doesn't get any. But We use that in the RV.
I don't know why. I don't know why you don't get any when I make a cup of coffee.
I'm not a big fan of that thing. I don't like glass coffee crafts because it's so hard to get them clean. They get that coffee buildup. I don't like this little one only because there's no shut off. Like if you empty it and forget to shut it off, like you're in trouble. Like you're gonna have shattered glass. My favorite coffee maker is the Breville Grind Control.
And we have one in our storage facility.
I actually have the coffee machine, but what I do not have is the pot because the pot is packed in a box. And I haven't found that box yet.
We do have a grinder also, but right now we're using grounds because that is also. Yeah. And if you're interested to know, Tractor Tread is this week's flavor. Because it's a workhorse coffee. It really is. And our tractor is a workhorse.
So if you're looking for a coffee maker, and you want fresh ground coffee, I would recommend the Breville Grind Control. Because what I like about it is you press one button and it grinds the exact amount of beans you need for that pot. Or a cup. You can even set it for a cup. And it grinds and brews it. You're always going to be better off to fresh grind your coffee, and when I mean fresh grind it right before you brew it. You don't want to grind it like a week or a month ahead of time, because you begin to lose some of the flavors and the potency of that coffee as soon as you grind it. So if you can do fresh ground that morning and you want a pot that does it all, I think the Breville Grind Control is great. I left a link for it down below. And I can't wait to get ours back.
And our coffee line does come in either ground or in whole bean. And you can find it at twocrazyketos.coffee.
Next one is from Tina.
Hey, Tina.
I've had my blood tested 2 times, the most recent last week. The first time were good, except for my hemoglobin was high. I'm assuming you're talking about your A1C. This time all cholesterol levels are high, very high, and the hemoglobin was high again. I'm going to see a hematologist for the hemoglobin, but I'm wondering what I might be doing wrong to have high cholesterol levels. Doctor said to cut back on meats, do more vegetables, but I really want to stay ketovore. Any suggestions would be appreciated. Tina, I would check out some of Dave Feldman's work, Dr. Barry's videos. Dr. Boz has a great video on cholesterol. As far as the A1C, without knowing what you're consuming, I don't know if you're doing something wrong.
Right.
Like, you would need to schedule a coaching call with us, and we can go over what are you currently eating. A lot of times we find people's like, I'm eating perfect keto or ketovore, and then when we really start to break down, they're eating 70, 80, 100 carbs a day because they don't realize it. Like, I've had clients that they're like, I just use a little bit of heavy cream, but it's a little bit of heavy cream 9 times a day, which worked out to be like they were consuming 10 carbs a day just in heavy cream. And you don't notice that when you're just using a tablespoon here and a tablespoon there, because it always shows up in chronometer as 0. But we would need to look at that to find out, are you doing something wrong? As far as cholesterol, it is very normal for cholesterol to go up initially when people start keto and then come back down. But again, in my personal opinion and all the research I've done and listening and talking to people like Dr. Barry and Dr. Boz and Dave Feldman and other experts, cholesterol is not the issue. It's the triglycerides.
Right.
So where are your triglycerides? The other thing is that people who have high cholesterol live longer. So
I'm going to live forever.
I want to have high cholesterol personally. I don't want to have high triglycerides. I think the more important thing is triglycerides to HDL and not so much where is your LDL. But it is perfectly normal. Also, there's really zero evidence that consuming dietary cholesterol elevates your cholesterol. So that's just something to take a look at. Next one is from Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
How do you feel about PSMF days? I have some belly fat I'm trying to get rid of, and my understanding is that on the lean days, your body will tap into stored fat. Is this true? I love my fatty cuts of meat, but I'm not sure if it's stalling me out for over a year now. PSMF is good if done right and short term. It was really designed for morbidly obese people.
Yeah.
The idea behind protein-sparing modified fasts is it's like an alternate day fasting. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically where you eat one day and you don't eat the next day. The problem is when you fast, you can lose some muscle mass, especially if you're doing extended fasting. So the idea behind protein-sparing modified fasting is to help preserve the protein, to preserve your muscle and not have it degrade. I think that PSMF can be good if done right, which means only doing it 2 to 3 days a week tops. The problem was, and this is what really brought about beef, butter, bacon, egg years ago. Years ago, when I say years ago, I'm talking about like 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. People got heavy into protein-sparing modified fast to lose weight. And the problem is they were like, well, if 3 days are good, 5 days would be even better. And if I just did it 7, then that would be awesome and it would solve all my problems. But what happened is if you're doing that, you're never eating any fat and you immediately tank your metabolism because your body has no fuel source. Because even if your body has body fat, your body still needs an incoming one. Otherwise, it will try to hold on to the body fat because of your...
It sees like, what you're doing. You're cleaning out the closet here.
How long is this body fat going to last? And I don't know when the next meal's going to come. So, you know, people were doing it too long. And that's where we had talked to Dr. Berry about, like, people were starting to demonize fat in the keto world. And everybody was just eat high protein, almost no fat on keto. And that's where we decided to do the beef, butter, bacon, and egg thing and did it for 45 days to show that consuming a whole bunch of body fat or dietary fat within fatty meats is not going to tank your progress. And obviously it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
You know, so now understand you cannot target fat. Everyone thinks that, like, I want to lose the belly fat, so I'm going to do a bunch of sit-ups. There's no way of determining where the fat's going to come from. It's so stubborn
that way because there's no, you know, we don't get to choose where we put it on either, right? So, you know, even when I have an experience where it's like I, you know, lose some body fat, it'll be off of it won't be like my thighs. Like I'm not sending it to the located area. It'll be like, hey, let me take off like another inch off of your neck or your wrist or something like that. So I've just kind of started to learn to appreciate wherever the change is and then start to make peace with my thighs. Like I loved how Amy, you know, Berger always would say, you know, maybe go from, it's really hard to go from a negative space, like I hate these thighs, to a positive space. No, I totally love my thighs. Like I get it, it's hard. Why not take it to a neutral space, which is to go from I absolutely hate my thighs to I'm thankful I have thighs. They get me where I need to go.
Right.
Like I appreciate the fact that I have thighs.
So I saw that Trish said, I did a day of PSMF last week and it swelled me into a few days of ravenous appetite and a 10-pound weight gain in less than a week. And no, I wasn't eating any food off plan, just a lot of it. So when protein-sparing modified fasting was a really big thing within the keto space, we tried it.
Sure.
And we were miserable.
We were not nice to one another even because we were so hungry. It didn't matter like how big the portion was. It was like you would get full in the moment, you get full in the meal, but like the in-between was just a white knuckling experience.
Protein will fill you up in the moment, but fat satiates you to the next meal. And what we found was
Joe wasn't moving fast enough delivering meals to me.
Those days where you only consume like 20 or 30 grams of fat were just miserable days. And you're trying to figure out like how to get all this protein in. And because you were eating, if I remember, it was like 130 to 150 grams of protein.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much you were eating shrimp and chicken breast is what you could eat.
Right.
And a lot of protein-sparing modified fast bread.
No dressing.
No dressing, no none of that. And what I found with it was the same thing as what Trish said was on the days of not PSMF, I was ravenously hungry because, again, our body was not getting those fuel on the other days. Yes, it was getting protein. It also, in my case, was causing elevated glucose on those high protein days because of that. And what I found was I would much rather just do an alternate day fast.
Yeah,
because,
I would rather
like,
have
giving
no
myself
food,
but it's just like
teasing
chicken breast and
poking a bear.
I would rather just do alternate day fasting.
Me too.
And I think you're going to get even better results for things like autophagy and stuff like that.
But
on an alternate day
again,
fasting.
don't live in alternate day fasting.
I'm not a big proponent of that. I'm saying I would rather do that.
Because again, it always comes to, I know everybody wants to take a shortcut. Shortcuts are like in a field in a sidewalk situation. They're not going to be something that you want to practice with nutrition. So like a lot of times people over the course of those 2 days, the equation ends up to I have under-eaten. Like, because it's very hard to get enough in for 2 days every other day.
Right. Now, I want to be clear here because I get all of these things that like we're against this and we're against that. We are not bashing or against protein sparing modified fast. What I'm saying is that was my experience was I hated it and that I would rather just alternate day fast, which I am not a huge proponent of that either. I'm more of a proponent of eat 2 meals a day until you're full, keeping your total carbs, especially if you're struggling with things, keep your total carbs down to like 10 and just doing the right thing that way. And then looking at some other stuff like lifting weights. So I'm not bashing protein sparing modified fast. I'm not against it. Our problem was years ago, people took it to the extreme. You can take anything to the extreme.
Certainly.
People can take beef, butter, bacon, and egg to the extreme and go, oh, you said I can eat as much as I want? Let me show. Rachel tried it.
I did.
She ate a 4-pound prime rib roast in a sitting. Like, I mean, so like we can take anything to the extreme, and that was the problem 3 and 4 years ago is people were taking it to the extreme. And I hate the saying, moderation is key, like everything in moderation. But you can't take anything that far to the extreme.
Right.
Just sitting down and being gluttonous and eating 5 dozen eggs in a sitting, though it is, I think, the healthiest food that you can possibly eat.
It's too much.
That would hurt you. If you ate 5 dozen eggs a day, you could end up with an egg white intolerance.
Sure.
So
I'm going to say my recommendation is going to be do common sense, reasonable keto 365 days a year instead of choosing to do something crazy 30 days a year and the rest of the year is like your standard American diet or you're in chaos.
Right.
Because of the fact that you've done something so extreme to try to fast track results.
Yeah, now sometimes you need a reset, like beef,
Sure.
butter, bacon, and egg, but there's a difference between that and trying to fast track things.
Yeah.
Next one is from Leah.
Hey, Leah.
Does anybody know how cherry powder used in processed meats affects insulin or ketone levels? It shouldn't. So this kind of leads to like today's topic of like additives in our foods. So now cherry powder is just really used. They're basically using it almost like a salt kind of thing. It will bring a little bit of flavor, but it's really used as part of that process to help preserve the meat and stuff. And it should not affect your glucose at all. But honestly, the best thing to do is to test everything on yourself.
Yeah.
And so, what you would do is do a finger test. And I always say, I do think that a lot of times finger tests are really good when it comes to food. If you're trying to over a CGM, because CGMs can be a little wonky sometimes. They also are about 20 to 30 minutes behind blood results. But when you do a blood test, make sure you're doing multiple sticks. So you want to test your glucose and make sure you wash your hands really well, because if there's any kind of sweet stuff on your fingers,
your lotion,
even like if you have sucralose or something on your finger, it will like affect your blood glucose reading. But I usually do like 2 to 3 sticks just to get a baseline. Then you're going to eat and then test it about a half hour later, an hour later, and 2 hours later. It should be at its highest about an hour after you eat something and then start coming down. That's the best thing to do. And up 5 points is not, by the way, like anything to worry about, because there's so many things that can affect your glucose. If you eat and then you go outside and you walk around the block, you could end up with an elevated glucose. So really the best way to test is literally like eat something and then do nothing until each test.
Right.
Like literally just lay down. But it should not affect you. But the only thing you can do is, because what affects you may not affect me and vice versa. Chalk Zero does not affect me at all. Skyrockets Rachel's glucose. Skyrockets a lot of people's glucose. So that's something to look at. But when it comes to meats and processed meats, first of all, understand all meat is processed. I know nobody wants to hear that, but all meat is processed. If you're eating just standard steak, it's processed. It's not overly processed, but it is processed. So somebody has butchered it. First of all, somebody had to slaughter it. Then it had to be butchered, and it had to be aged, and then it had to be packed. All of that is part of processing. I mean, we're going to be butchering our chicken. It's called processing day. Now, a lot of the meats that we are buying in the stores, especially poultry, have additives in them. So like if you go to Costco and I'm not talking about the chickens that are cooked, but just pick up a regular chicken that you're going to go home and cook, and you're going to see a lot of times they are pumping them full of dextrose and water and things like that because they're trying to plump them up. They're also trying to make the weight more. So like
because you pay by the pound.
The chicken probably only weighs like 3 pounds, but they add like a half a pound of water and stuff into it, and then you pay more money and it looks bigger.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your lunch meats, all of that stuff is going to be processed. Look for the cleaner ones. You're always going to generally see sodium nitrate. You're probably going to see a little bit of sugar, which is part of the curing process. So I look at what is the carb count and round it. So if it says it's 1 carb per serving, figure it's at least 1.5, maybe 2. So I always just round it up. But you're still going to be better off consuming that over the standard American diet.
Sure, absolutely.
Dr. Berry says all the time, you can do keto on hot dogs and mustard. You are better off eating nothing but Spam over eating the standard American diet. Like, if we should do that. We should do like a week of nothing but Spam.
What are you committing me to, young man?
Spam and eggs.
Spam and eggs. I mean, I'd be up for it if you want to do it when we come back.
Spam and eggs.
I don't want to go to Elkhart and miss out on delicious food, so I'll do it when we come back if you want. Hey, thanks so much, Trish. Gifted 5 2 Crazy Keto subscriptions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. So Lori said,
just like the comment you read, I sometimes can't stand eggs, mostly because I've had them too often. The biggest culprit is the scrambled texture, so I have to change the texture to use up my eggs. Just sometimes hits me as mushy foam. Of course, hard-boiled is another texture too. I've also used them raw in a Ninja Creamy mixture using all the ingredients for yellow cake batter except the flour. 4 ounces of heavy whipping cream, 4 tablespoons of melted butter, 3 to 4 eggs, 1 to 2 teaspoons of vanilla, tiny bit of almond extract, tiny bit of baking powder, salt, 1 tablespoon of acacia fiber, 1/4 teaspoon of guar gum, and water to make 2 cups of sweetened to taste. It's a meal dessert thingy that will not read as eggs. Thank you so much for that. That is very true. You love, part of when we did beef butter, bacon, and eggs, like you were really doing your egg loaf. You were making.
Well, that was when we did the egg fast.
Yeah, because it was like, I gotta have something that is not just eggs. So the egg loaf was born.
When people come and talk about, like, I have a meat aversion, I have a ground beef aversion, I have an egg aversion, I'm just tired of eating it. I think, in my opinion, a lot of times it is because they're doing the same thing over and over and over and over.
And you're just want something different.
I can eat the same things over and over again, but I do need change. And the change could be a little slight change in texture, or it could be a change in flavors by adding spices. And I think eggs and ground beef are 2 things that I see a lot of people, and I know myself included, will be like, I'm just tired of it. Well, are you tired of the taste, or are you tired of the texture? And I think most of us don't realize it's more of just the monotonous in the texture. So that's where it is with eggs. I think that in my opinion, there's a giant difference in taste between a sunny side up egg or an over easy egg and a scrambled egg and a hard boiled. They're completely different. It's the same food.
Right.
but they taste different, right? And why do they taste different? Because we eat with our eyes, and also the texture, it mentally changes the flavor. Same thing with ground beef. There's no difference between if you just took ground beef and then also if you form it into a hamburger. It's the same thing. But somehow we look at them different between eating just like crumbled up ground beef and a burger. So when you have this aversion to meat or eggs, change it up a little bit with either the way you're preparing it or adding some spices or put ketchup on your eggs.
Sometimes it has to do a lot also with comparison between what you're doing and what you're seeing. And with social media, you're seeing everybody have so many varieties of breakfast now. I think about like a Little House on the Prairie type of time. You would see they would be setting up for breakfast and like probably didn't, other than like the kids going to school and maybe seeing, what's in each other's lunch pail. They always had the same thing for breakfast. Every single time. I can remember my grandparents like having the same breakfast because this is breakfast.
Right.
When I can remember going to school with kids and there was still within the family dynamic of people a spaghetti night, a meatloaf night, and that is just like it would feel weird to the family to be eating something on a Tuesday night that was not in their natural order of things. But now, if we get into a groove, even if we're fine with it, if you start seeing everybody having seemingly more fun on entertainment, or you're seeing on Instagram, or like friends of yours are trying all these different kinds of recipes, it starts to make that food stale in your mind.
Right.
You're bored with it.
Next one is from Joanna.
Hey, Joanna.
Rachel, I'm at a point in my second round of the proper human diet where I feel great. I'm losing inches and pounds, sleeping better, moving better, all the things, and I'm finding your voice in my head.
Yay!
The scale is the devil. Be kind to yourself. Remember your why. Your mental health is just as important as your physical. Feed your body real food. You deserve it. You only feel as good as the food you're eating, and many more. Thank you for reminding me, that in all things I need to be kind.
I love that.
Especially to myself. Be the kind person you're looking for in your life. Smile at a stranger. It may be the only thing they experience today. It may change their life.
Wow, Joanna, thank you so much. And I'm glad that like if we've shared anything, that it's something that you can remember. I want to be a positive force in your life, and I pray I can be an encouragement. And sometimes I can't have that kind word for myself, and so I borrow from other people that like I know, I trust, I know that they want to be an encouragement. And so when I can't hear it in my own voice, I will hear it in their voice. And I trust them in so many other areas of my life that I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just choose to move forward with this. Choose to believe.
Start us up with the spam and eggs.
Uh-oh.
Somebody said there's jalapeno spam.
That might help.
It's been many years.
The reason why I'm like up for it is I know that we have like our griddle and stuff like that ready up, and I do like crusts on things.
So
and
you
can
take
get that
spam
hot
and you throw
crust.
it on your Blackstone or on your griddle.
You can get a crust on it.
You're from the South.
Right.
They don't have this down here. But one of my favorite foods growing up, which is just horrible for you because of the stuff they add into it, not all of the ingredients, but some of the other stuff, was scrapple.
Yikes.
And if you don't know what scrapple is, look it up. It is basically all of the parts of the animal that nobody wants to eat. But then they do mix it with a bunch of... It is delicious. Scrapple is delicious, but they do add other stuff to it, which makes it not keto friendly.
You need to make a keto
But
friendly
it is
scrapple.
that same kind of spam consistency. And the best way to consume scrapple would be on a cast iron pan. And you get that like
crust.
That crust. Like we could make spam and egg sandwiches. Like you just 2 pieces of spam.
I'm up for it.
So,
you guys want to do it with us?
Spam and
We'd be
eggs.
doing it the week after we get
Chris
back
put
from
up the jalapeno spam.
Elkhart. Yeah, there are quite a few flavors now of Spam, depending on, what your local grocery store provides.
Sean said that was one thing that killed me at restaurants. They would sell a chopped steak, which is just a bigger burger without the buns and the toppings, and charge more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly, and that's what it is. It's like people, I don't want a hamburger. I'll have a chopped steak. It's the same thing. Next one is from Who's Your Chick?
Who's Your Chick?
Hi, I want to go to the Elkhart Meetup on April 1st, but I can't find a way to register for it. Can I just, no, you just show up. There's no cost. Now we're at a restaurant. Do you have to eat? No. You don't have to.
And everybody pays their own bill.
Everybody pays their own bill. This is not like, hey, we're going to have 30 people and we're going to throw the check in. Joe and Rachel are not paying for everybody's food.
We're
Sorry,
not.
we don't have any money. So if you basically just show up, we take over the restaurant. We've been there. We've eaten there a few times.
It's
we did
delicious.
a meetup last year.
Yeah. They have really good
Their
food.
coleslaw, it's not a coleslaw, it's a cabbage.
It's hot.
It's a warm cabbage, very good.
Very good.
But all of their foods are really good. They'll do meat without sauce. We really like, what is it called? Smokin' Fatties?
I think I'm pretty sure.
Smokin' Fatties. Every time we go to Elkhart, we
eat there.
go there once or twice.
Yeah.
Next one is from SB Huff.
Well, hello.
My griddle was nicely seasoned, and then my son didn't used it and didn't clean it, and it wasn't used for 3 weeks. Now it's all rusted. Any ideas on how? These kids.
Put the sun out. Here's done. Now he's an outdoor son. Now he lives out there.
Like even our shed, so the studio shed, I've got the whole battery, I've got my whole inverter system set up. I'm so excited about it. The batteries come shipped. They are only at 50%, and I have 2 batteries. You should have seen me, by the way, trying to get them into the server rack. You're helping with the storage one. But each battery weighs over 100 pounds.
Ooh.
Okay? And you've got this metal box.
Muscle man over here.
Okay, well, you know that metal box that they're in?
Yeah.
Try lifting it up and sliding it into the box. That rolls.
Yeah. Was it like
I mean, but you're trying to lift this thing up, but you can't. So you can't lift it from the middle because there's a door, and so like you have to try to lift it from the front. So I'm like laying on the floor using my knee to lift up the back end. Not because there's handles on the front, but it doesn't help you with the weight in the back. Anyway. I'm going to do I'm like, what can I do? Well, what I can do is make a makeshift electrical cord and go from a generator into there. Well, our children used the generator during the storm last year, but they used the gasoline portion, and now the carburetor's all gummed up.
And we told them, do not use that. It's a dual fuel generator. You do not have to use the gasoline.
Now I have to take it back to Harbor Freight because fortunately I buy the extended warranty, which, side note, although we have not answered this question, if you ever want something like a generator, a power washer, something like that, Harbor Freights are amazing.
They don't suck anymore like they used to.
And like their generators, I think, are better than the Hondas, but they're at 1/3 of the price, and they're actually quieter. And I've tested both. But the thing is that you can buy an extended warranty, for example, on a pressure washer. Depending on how much it was, it's $100, $200, $300. If there is any problem with that thing at all, they don't fix it.
They just replace it.
You just bring it up and they give you a brand new one.
There is always something wrong with a pressure washer. Always.
And here's the best part. When they give you the new one, they will sell you a warranty on the new one.
Okay.
So literally, you buy a $1,000 generator, you pay $200 for the extended warranty. I've actually had the cashiers tell me, like, just do the 1 year and listen, about a week before, 2 weeks before it ends.
Bring it back.
Bring it back and say it doesn't run as well as it used to because it won't run as, it will be a fact, right? Like, I'm not saying to do that, but this is what the cashier told me to do. But literally, you can now bring that $1,000 one up, pay $200 in warranty. It doesn't work anymore. They give you a new one, and then for $200, you have a warranty on the new one. Like, it's...
Okay.
I think it's great. So anyway, for your question, yes, the griddle is not ruined. That's the beauty about cast iron and rolled steel griddles. Now, if it is a ceramic coated like the Pit Boss, That's why we didn't go that route, is that if you scratch it, it's ruined. Because
Right.
it doesn't, you would literally at that point have to take the entire ceramic coating off to turn it back into a rolled steel grill.
Yikes.
So, but the cool thing is, if you just have a black stone, if it's got a lot of rust, you get a wire brush or some steel wool, scrub it all off, then do the best you can. You don't necessarily have to take the whole griddle down to bare steel. If it's all rusty, just use some steel wool, get it all off, and then go through the seasoning process again. And that will completely fix your griddle. But that's the cool thing about cast iron and rolled steel, is it's good forever, so long as you preserve it.
That's why you can still see like old pieces in like thrift stores and stuff, because people can completely restore them and bring them back to life.
Okay, a couple more. Next one from Elmery Farms.
Well, hello.
Do you have a link for the brooder that you got from Amazon? If you are talking about the one that we used when we first got the meat birds, don't buy it.
Yeah. It has a fatal design flaw.
It actually shows up. We actually talk about it in one of the farm videos, which there is a farming video coming out later today on the homesteading channel. So go make sure you go subscribe to that channel. The concept of the box was pretty good.
It was very smart. I like the idea of it.
The problem is, okay, so the front doors are plexiglass, which I didn't have a problem with, but they're on a cheap plastic track, so you can easily knock them off.
Right.
The real problem with it was you have a wood floor which has like a laminate on it. So it is wood. It's not like particle board, but it is wood, and then it has like a laminate on it. And then it had these watering things in the back with the little stick things. And the problem is baby chickens go nuts over water.
They love water.
Especially those things, they like hearing the clicking.
Yeah, so they're tick, 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 tick.
And what happened was they just kept emptying out the thing, and then when you picked up the bedding, it was all soaking wet.
They were soaked.
And so it basically just dumps the water, because especially a baby, the problem with those nipple feeders like that is, yes, it puts water out, but water drips on the ground. So putting that in a box doesn't work.
Right.
Putting it in something like on the ground or something like that, you're fine.
Because the ground
but
would
putting
absorb
it in there, what's going to end up happening is the wood is going to rot out. And what I found, we actually had it on my office floor. Now, fortunately, we put vinyl plank flooring down. But when you picked up the box, it was you were in a puddle of water.
Yeah.
Like if we would have used old-fashioned laminate flooring, like
We
it
would
would
have
have
been
ruined that flooring in the first week.
Off.
So yeah, I don't think the box is worth it.
No.
I just don't. Here's a good solution. We're gonna make a video on this on the farming channel. Here's a really good solution. Go on Amazon, buy like a $25 pet playpen. It's one of those ones where you throw it up in the air and it comes out, and then you can line that with bedding. You can get a couple of waterers, and then you put your feet in there, and then use like either the brooding plate or a light hanging over it, and they have plenty of room, and there's even a cover for them. So if you have a lot of birds, and when we do, like in June, we're doing 50 meat birds, like that's what they're going in.
Yeah.
Because like a little box is too small for 50
them.
meat birds. Last one is from Nikki.
Hey, Nikki.
You either spend your morning eating healthy or you spend your money in prescription
Woo!
medications. There is always a choice. I'm assuming that meant you spend your money.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, you're right. You're going to spend your money. I mean, the Bible tells us that, like, you know, where your heart is, that's where your treasure will be. If you are wanting to be healthy, put your money and put your mouth on good, nutritious food. If you are like, well, it's subjective. Like some days I feel like being healthy and some days I don't. I just don't care. Like I'm just going to do what I want to do. The outcome is going to be different, but it was your choice.
Yeah.
It is our choice. You do have a choice to make today and every day to be consistent. And when you are consistent, you're going to have an outcome. And when you skip out on consistency, you're going to have a different outcome. It's not that the world is against you. It's not that like you should feel like I'm a terrible person. There's no like penalty to pay. You made the choice. It's
Right.
best to just don't be sad about it. Like, own the choice and then choose moving forward. You're going to make different choices because then you're going to have a different outcome.
Let's get into some questions. Trish has a question. Are there any hotel suggestions in Elkhart or a local 2KK peep to ask?
Ooh, good question.
My favorite place to stay in Elkhart, that is honestly, I think, the cheapest and very clean, is the True Hotel, TRU by Hilton. It is actually like pretty much across the street from Smokin' Fatties. But that's where we stay. Like, that's whenever I go to Elkhart and we need to stay in a hotel, that's where we stay because I think it's the cheapest one up there.
And it's nice.
And it's very clean. It's a newer hotel. But when you go in, there is coffee downstairs. I don't think they do free breakfast. But that's one of the things about True is I don't think they do free breakfast. I don't remember.
I'm not positive on that. I feel like I did get a breakfast there.
But on average, I think we usually pay like $70 or something or something like that.
Very reasonable.
That is where we
Is it Evelyn's birthday?
I think it's this weekend.
Let's sing. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Evelyn. Happy birthday to you and many more, so many more. My first memory of lovely Evelyn is when she was making friendship bracelets. I believe it was at Keto Palooza, wasn't it, Evelyn? And it was just like,
it was Keto Palooza.
It was
2 years
so
ago.
freaking awesome. It was just like, hi, my name is Evelyn, and I'd like to, can I make you a bracelet? It was like the coolest icebreaker ever. And honestly, like, just truly revealed her heart that she's just such an awesome, loving person. Look at all of these beautiful people who received 2KK subscriptions thanks to Trish. Thanks so much, Trish.
Okay, so Risa said, I've got 2 days off of work. I'm going to spend a lot of time in the kitchen making Chris's waffles, biscuits, and low-carb spin hash browns to prep for the week. That's pretty
nice.
Cool. Barbara said, I'm going to have to keep my eyes looking for jalapeno spam. Sounds like a fun flavor combo.
It does sound like a fun flavor combo.
Like I said, Chris put up the recipe, the link for it. Christine said, we still do spam fried for breakfast sometimes instead of bacon for a change. Hickory is my favorite.
There's like an entire line. So we need to try some of the flavors. I think that would be fun.
Okay, Jesse's got a great question.
Hey, Jesse.
Is it true that coffee can significantly raise cortisol levels, causing a weight loss stall or even weight gain? Yes. So coffee definitely can raise your cortisol. It's funny because it could also lower your cortisol.
I was going to say, I think that some of it has to do with the experience for me. And again, this is going to be like personal, but there is a lot of happy memories tied to relaxation and coffee for me. So honestly, even though, yeah, you've got, caffeine in it and it could be a problem for me, it tends
Can't
to
waste the keto drink.
calm me down, honestly.
Now, but consuming a lot of it
crazy.
will raise your cortisol.
But now I'm not drinking 2 pots a day.
Yeah, when you drank 2 pots a day, as soon as you stopped that, it definitely affected things.
Infected your life.
So increased cortisol will affect your weight loss. It'll put you in a stall. It can even cause you to have weight gain, which we had talked about in a video the other day. When we look at last year in August and September, going as I'm editing these videos from building the house, and at first, I'm very glad that I did it this way, although I've been beating myself up that we didn't launch the farming channel earlier. And it is more work because I have to go back and try to edit all of these videos. I should have just edited them. But again, we never, this is our primary focus is keto. And so that was kind of like just a side quest. But now that I'm able to go back and edit the videos, it's really helping me remember where we started.
Yeah.
It's hard sitting here in this kitchen right now where the kitchen is finished other than a backsplash, but we're looking at unfinished walls right now. The entire rest of the house, other than my office, is unfinished. And even that is technically unfinished because I haven't done the moldings yet. But looking at the house, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have so much that needs to be done until I go back and look at those videos.
And you're like, holy crap, we've gotten a lot done.
But looking at those videos as we've been editing, we had gained some weight. But
from
we did
stress.
not realize it, but our diet had not changed at all. It was all stress. It's all stress related. And cortisol, like if you have a lot of stress, you increase your cortisol. And so that, all of that weight gain, and it's not like we gained 100 pounds, but we gained like 10, 15 pounds.
We don't have a scale, so we're
August
not
and September.
Sure, but.
And so to look at those videos and go like, okay, look at, like I was
It's how my
bigger than I
face-
thought I was. I was very puffy, but
My
that was
face
all
was like a
stress-related.
moon.
And as things began to slow down,
As soon as we sold the Coconut Creek house and I knew Caleb had someplace to stay,
yeah, the
I could
stress went
literally
away.
just feel the whoosh happening.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Let's see. Keto Simple, sorry I missed this. Thanks for the $2 super chat. So
Yay!
looking forward to April 1st.
Joe and Rachel hugs. I'm looking forward to Dustin hugs. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Lola said, I only had Spam once as a teenager. My daughter-in-law said it tastes good, crisp up like Rachel suggested. I might join you. I'll look for a bacon flavor.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's all kinds of flavors. I think it would be interesting. It really would. That'd be a fun week.
Joanna said my daughter works at Harbor Freight as an assistant manager. I love Harbor Freight.
It's awesome. And it used to be that
I mean, some of the I wouldn't buy power tools from them, like their electric. If you want just a cheap drill to throw in the trunk of your car, yes. But if it's like, I would not buy like their power tools, like bat
wouldn't be
drills and stuff
building a
like
house
that.
with it.
If you're a professional contractor, you know, where you have to rely on it. But they do have the higher end, and the higher end, like on the regular tools, like Icon and stuff, they are top notch. And like, I've used their auger. It's a quarter the price of buying a store-bought one, because like, how often am I going to use an auger? But if I had to rely on it every day, I don't know if I would buy theirs.
Well, it was interesting. So Harbor Freight was, there was one not very far from where we lived, you know, in Coconut Creek. And so that was the place that the boys would go to get dad, you know, his Christmas presents. And years ago, because their teeth money and birthday money would go further there at Christmas time. But he'd be like, oh, thank you for these screwdrivers that I'm not sure is going to snap off as soon as I try to use them. But now
they all come with a lifetime warranty.
they've really upped their game.
Helga said, want to say, Rachel, you have the best hair.
Oh, thank you. So one of the things that I did when I went down to visit Caleb was I went to my hairdresser. And so I come in there and she's like, what did you do? And I said, well, we moved and I had to get my hair cut. She's like, well, tell them to do this or that. And I said, no, I'm not. I have 2 children that still live very close to here. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to plan visits. And when I visit them,
when I go diving,
I'm going to get my hair done when I'm there.
Okay, Reese said, I can get Scrapple at ShopRite in the meat department, but it does have all kinds of crap in it aside from the animal parts. It's an occasional treat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the worst thing
my
in
goodness,
the world.
no.
It's just, it's not the best. Like, if you go to, like, an Amish or Mennonite community and get it, and, like, again, they're going to usually add bread and sugar and that kind of crap into it. But it's still not, I can think of a lot worse things to get, but here's the thing, I would consume Scrapple every day. I think it's so good.
I was going to say, Trish, thank you to you and Bob who sent us the fan that we can use like for cruises. I'm going to tell you, that thing's going to get used around here on the farm way more than even on the cruises, because it's like little and portable. You can stick it anywhere. And that was like yesterday when I was putting up the insulation, the fan. Because it's like you're trapped in a box, and I know it's going to be great because it's going to, you know, be fed. It's going to have an air conditioner, but it don't yet. Right. And like we said, once it's in the afternoon, it's like 90 degrees. So thank you.
And it's purposely in the middle of the sun.
Yeah.
Like, well, the back half is in the middle of the sun.
So
the front half is shaded with trees, but I specifically put it where I put it so that I can have full sun exposure for the solar
system. You
system.
just hang it on my little step ladder and travel around with me. It's cruising around already.
Crystal said, I've had Vienna sausages with scrambled eggs before, and it was quite delicious pre-keto, LL, but technically, Vienna sausages are 100% keto.
My little brother used to freaking love those things. My grandmother would bring cans of those to church. This was back, you know, like we had their pews. And it was, honestly, it was great for like when you had kids, because you would have like one adult at one end, one adult at the other, and the kid has like all of this like playing around room. And I grew up in a church where like it was like Sunday school start. You were there at church at like 7 a.m. and you're not getting out until like 1 p.m. So you better pack a picnic or something. But I was always be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she brought Vienna sausage, because like our pew is gonna smell. But he was like 2, and my grandmother's like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just gonna hand hot dogs to like in goo to a toddler while we're here. That's the level of that we were at.
Trish said it is our anniversary on April 2nd, so Bob said he's taking me to Elkhart to celebrate. Never even thought that would happen.
Oh my gosh, I am so stinking excited you're gonna be there, Trish. And it's beautiful. I love Elkhart. There is a really...
Elkhart is how we found this property.
It is a...
Which makes no sense, but...
Yeah, because we loved Elkhart so much. We just needed Elkhart without the winter.
Cold.
But there, and it's amazing. There's so many things to see there. There's really cool, like, tour. There's the RV museum, the history, of RVs museum. That one's really good to see. There's a lot of stuff to do, not very far from there. And then you're really like a hop, skip, and a jump from Michigan to like. There's just a lot of stuff to do.
Sabrina said, I'm bringing the Aldi keys to give away that you made and sent last year for a meetup. They didn't come in the mail in time, so I'm
so glad you're bringing them, Sabrina. Thank you. Thanks for saving them. That was so nice of you.
Okay, Teresa, how can you lower cortisol when the stress won't stop and unfortunately I can't fix it? Hubby was diagnosed May 22nd with cancer. He's doing well, but the shoe always drops with something else.
You are going to have to find decompression moments for yourself. So you have got to, and that is for his longevity as much as it is for yours, right? Because you want to be a present and well caretaker. If you fall down in the fight, like where is he going to be? He's not going to be able to get the help that he needs. So in order for you to be able to kind of lower those cortisol levels, you're going to have to find things, even if it's 5 minutes at a time. Maybe it is sit down and put a puzzle together. Maybe it is play something on your phone. Maybe it is sit down and you've got 20 minutes and you can watch a funny movie or funny show or funny reels instead of doom scrolling. What you want to do is find opportunities for you to be at rest and to calm down. Take a walk. Like these are things that you are doing. And as you do this thing, as you take a walk or you take 30 minutes for yourself, say, this is medicine for him. This is me trying to be the best wife that I can be to help my spouse in this season of our lives together. It is going to benefit both of you for you to find ways for you to be able to rest. Caleb, our son, works with special needs children. So when he comes home from work, he has to go through some decompression exercises so that he can always be the best he can be to be a therapist for them. You know what I mean? Like that, it's really important for you to take that time for yourself.
Shauna. Chris said it was every girl's dream of going to Elkhart, Indiana for their anniversary.
Really?
I'll say that's where I'm taking Miriam a month early for our 25th
25 years. How precious. I'm excited because I'm going to get to see the Bear Kids. I'm seeing Ruth before she leaves for Mexico.
Oh, somebody's asking about Shauna because, it's a giant flea market, but
yes,
it won't be open.
I don't think it's open yet because it's still too cold there.
Yeah. So, okay.
So let us know, like put in the... like the Mighty Networks group and the Two Crazy Ketos family, if you are from around that area of Elkhart, or within, I would say, an hour driving distance, that you know of some cool things that are coming up in the next week or so. People are coming in at different times and leaving at different times and have different interests. So, and it doesn't have to be like keto focused. It could be like, hey, here's a cool museum, or this is a great place to shop, or something that is open here. These are some events that are going on. Let us know. That was like something awesome that like Autumn always would provide when we were going to Louisville, like things that are in the area that you can do. And that just makes, you know, the whole meetup thing better and funner. And that way you guys can converse also, that like if people are coming in and saying like, hey, I'm going to the museum. When we went to the RV museum, we went with Sarah, I went with Sarah G and with Andy because like we all happened to be there. So it might kind of provide an opportunity for people to have some fun.
Okay, we're going to get off, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then also, if you are a member of the paid group in our Mighty Networks, Rachel will do her live stream at 10 a.m. If you're not a member of Mighty Networks, go join the main group. Is completely free. Members.2krazyketos.com. If you want to choose to support us financially, we'd really appreciate that. You can do that by joining the $5, $10, or $25 group, or you can use the link down below and buy us a cup of coffee.
We love you guys and hope you have a great week.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.